Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm going to show you guys one of the better natural setups for your crayfish tank. So as you guys already know, I do keep a 75-gallon fish tank for my crayfishes, and I did set it up like this previously a couple months ago, and then I did introduce you to guys this setup. But I did have a bit of a change in this tank. I've added a couple of guppies in this fish tank to make it a more community fish tank, as well as some of the blue rams that I purchased from a pet shop a couple of weeks ago. And these guys are actually doing really well. And I definitely recommend having these blue rams in your crayfish tanks because they, honestly, they're one of the best fishes to keep as a, what do you call it? Tank mates. Tank mates. Yeah, these guys are very beautiful and they definitely glow. They have very neon colors in them. When they actually provide these colors when they're happy with their environment. And look at this one, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. But yeah, so talking about natural looking fish tank when it comes to crayfish is actually kind of difficult because, as you guys know previously, I have a tank that looks like this, more like a factory looking, what is this, an art gallery, but this tank actually has one of the best looking crayfishes that you'll ever see. Electric blue crayfishes. So, this tank does definitely have a purpose, but it doesn't exactly look too appealing to audience. It just looks like, what is this? Like just containers in here. So how do you do this? But yeah, so I decided to make a fish tank that looked more natural compared to that one. So I do have a log in there. Forgot what that was called. And I do have green plants there. But yeah, before I get into this video a little deeper, I just have to let you know that all the plants in this fish tank are fake. They're plastic, made out of plastic, only because you guys already know that they will eat up all the live plants. So do not put live plants in your crayfish tank. They will literally demolish the whole setup. So I do have, greeneries in that corner, and then greeneries throughout the fish tank like this, making it look a little more realistic than the other tank that you just saw. And these guys are actually doing really well. So when it comes to setting up a fish tank for your crayfishes, making it more natural, it definitely requires some of the more natural looking decorations. For example, like the log that you see as a middle piece here, and the green plants, the rocks, and the pebble. Everything really has to match really well when it comes to setting up your fish tank as natural as possible, if that's what you're going for. Let me give you some of the recommendations when you're setting up a crayfish tank. So these guys do have a characteristic, I don't know if it's called a trait or whatever, but they have a gene that copies a characteristic of chameleons. How they change color depending on like the setting that they're in. If, for example, if they're in a place in front of like a green background, they change their color to green. If they're climbing up a bark that's as brown as this one, they changed their color to brown, so they can camouflage, right? So and these crayfishes definitely have that characteristic too, and if you do your research, you'll probably find out that this is actually true. For that reason, if you provide them a tank or an environment where they have a darker gravel color like this one, they will have darker blue or red or orange, whichever color you keep. They will have a more saturated color on their body because they naturally produce color pigments that are darker and deeper when they're actually in a darker and deeper saturated colored environment. So I definitely recommend one of the darker tone backgrounds, like for example the black gravel you see in this tank, so that you can have one of the better colored crayfishes. Also having like a darker backdrop, like how I do. It's completely black because I painted it black, is also very helpful. So if you have an orange crayfish, they'll become more saturated orange. If you have a red one, they'll become more saturated red. However, if you have a brighter environment, like white gravel with white walls and brighter colored environment, then they will be less saturated and they will show off less color than the ones that you keep in a darker environment like mine. So that's one of the recommendations I can provide you guys, as well as the plants. I mentioned the plants before, but definitely no live plants in your crayfish tank because they will literally demolish everything. In my case, I do have a bamboo, just one bamboo in this fish tank. Like you see, it's so bright. Yes, it's a very tall bamboo that I got. Just have one in there just to test how it does. I'm not sure if it's doing too well, but I already put it in there when it wasn't doing well in the first place, so it doesn't quite matter. But yeah, so having a natural looking fish tank like this doesn't require too much. You just need some logs and some rocks and some darker colored pebbles. It just works, and I guess this is one of the better setups that I can show you, only because it has, you know, a bit of a hierarchy. So by that I mean it has a middle piece, you know, that catches the attention, and when the filter and everything goes on, you'll see all the bubbles bubble up, and you know, it just looks marvelous. So having a middle piece as a, you know, center point is very important in my case. I'm not saying that you need to do this too, but you know, a real looking log and a real looking, you know, plants in the background, in the corners. And trust me, plenty of hiding spaces is provided in this tank for my crayfishes. You know, definitely. So all these tunnels are for, you know, the baby and smaller size crayfishes, and this one is larger for larger crayfish, as well as the coconut house, and you know, the nooks and crannies of, you know, this setup right here, the behind, the inside, the tunnel, everything. So these guys definitely need a lot of hiding spaces, as you see, as well as a lot of, you know, rocks and, like, I guess barricades, because these guys naturally just walk and roam around the tank. They don't exactly like swim. They do have these swimlets or whatever, but they don't necessarily use them unless they have to escape. So that's the main way of transportation for these guys, is to walk around. So providing them a lot of barricades in between, you know, each other, and the whole setup is very, very important and essential. So yeah, so I guess not too different from the previous setup, but this is basically, you know, some of the recommendations that I can give it to you guys. And if you think, you know, I can implement more other features in this fish tank, please let me know down in the comment section, and I will try to do my best to implement them. And if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, if you like a particular something about this tank, then let me know down in the comment section. And if you have any questions, as always, leave it down in the comment section, and I'll try my best to help you guys out. And so yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.